What is going on, guys? So today is January the 23rd, and the video you are about to watch is actually going to be a very in-depth, detailed video about how I set up a Betta tank. It's going to go through everything from the type of substrate I use, the materials that I use, the methods that I use to scape a tank, how I condition the water, everything down to the chemicals that are used, everything. So this video is extremely long. It's almost about 30 minutes long, but anything you need to know about how to scape a tank will be in here, or at least the methods that I use. And I'm not saying they're the right methods. Everybody has their own way of doing things, and this is just my way. Like I said, very in-depth video, very long, but a lot of great, valuable information. So make sure that you drop a like on this video, make sure that you subscribe, and comment below and let me know what you guys think. So I really appreciate the support. Let's get into this video today. Hey guys, what's going on? We are back for another video, and if you did not happen to see my last video, the last video was basically on rescaping this Tetra tank, and as of right now, we have a few rasboras and two green Cory catfish that are in here. I had asked you guys to comment to see what we wanted to put in here, and it's down between more rasboras or just a bunch of neon tetras, due to the fact that everybody kind of stated what I had already kind of researched, which was that African cichlids would totally destroy the substrate, which really kind of defeats the purpose. So we're going to either go with rasboras or neons. So stay tuned to see what ends up in that tank. But for today's video, what we're going to be doing is we're actually going to be scaping a new Betta tank. This Betta tank was the one that I was going to scape when I ended up at a big box store rescuing all the Bettas. Now, I am not going to buy another fish. There is no point. I don't see the purpose in it because I have 5 rescue Bettas right now. Why not go ahead and rehome one into this new tank and let it live here for the rest of its life with all the other Bettas that we have. So during this video today, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be focusing on how to set up the tank completely from start to finish. Everything from cycling the tank, why we use the products that we do, those types of things. So let's get into this now. Now, as you probably saw in the thumbnail, this is the entire setup, what's going in here. We may add some rocks and things to this as well, but to start with, we're going to be using the Carib Sea Floramax planted aquarium substrate, and the reason I'm using this is because I am putting live plants in there. We also have a couple of small anubias as well as some small ferns. These ferns are Java ferns, which I really like, and these both are very much a easy plant to take care of. The light that's in this tank will be fine for them, as well as they grow pretty well. With the anubias, as you probably know, and if you don't, when we plant these anubias, we want to make sure that we plant these in a way that the rhizome is not buried under the substrate, as it will cause rot and will ultimately kill the plant. Now, we're going to be using Fritz products to cycle our tank today. We'll talk about those a little bit, and then we've got a nice piece of driftwood to go in here as well. So let's get into this now, and I'm going to start unboxing this tank, getting the substrate cleaned, getting the plants taken out, getting this piece of driftwood cleaned because this was actually in a previous tank. Let's get this thing together. Now for me, I like to do everything in a 5-gallon bucket. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this 5-gallon bucket and I'm going to put it in the sink. And then we are going to take this Floramax and we're going to place this into that 5-gallon bucket to wash out all of the residue and debris. Now, I have had some people tell me that you shouldn't rinse this because it takes away all of the nutrients and things of that nature. I don't necessarily agree with that, and I don't know the scientific proof behind it, but what I do know is that the particles and the dust that is coming from here is breaking down from this natural substance anyway. This natural substance is actually made from volcanic rock, so the dust and such is just particles off the rock. So washing it away, it's just literally washing away the dirt, leaving the volcanic rock still there, which is still nutrient packed. So I don't really necessarily agree with that. However, if you know something different that I don't and you've done the research, please comment below and let me know why it's not okay to rinse this stuff. But until I figure that out, I will continue to rinse it. I've had no issues. That tank right there has the same type of substrate in it. My Blackwater tank in the tank room, which we'll see, has the same substrate in it. I rinsed that one. No issues in there. As well as, if you notice, in this tank, it actually layers. So the fine silt material starts to settle to the bottom, then you get a little bit more medium, and then you get this very hard, coarse rock on the top. So everything begins to settle anyway, only leaving just this top layer, and basically everything is down here, the silt that's left over. So that's the plan now. Let's go ahead and get this bag in that 5-gallon bucket and start washing it. So basically what I'm going to do is open this bag up, go ahead and pour this substrate in. There is a packet of a clarifier that comes in here, but I don't ever use it. So that goes in the trash.
Whoa, let's zoom in. Hey guys!
How you doing?
Bad.
Yeah, why is that?
Video is 4 minutes and 50 seconds so far.
So that's good. Which means you're gonna fill it with a bunch of crap.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so I'm just kidding, Brenton. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm actually bringing this 5-gallon bucket of substrate outside. I'm going to use the hose to go ahead and rinse it out, and that's just simply because it makes it faster, as well as if any particles of this volcanic rock overflow or come out of the bucket, I really don't want those in my garbage disposal because it can cause it to lock up, seize up, and can damage it. So I prefer to personally rinse it out outside with the hose, just simply because, like I said, don't want it in my garbage disposal. So that's what we're gonna do now. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and take the hose, fill this thing up, and what I usually do is use the hose to really stir it up really good, and then I will just simply tilt it and let the water run out because the substrate is heavier than obviously the water. It will not float. And then this is what you get coming out of here. It's just this murky, dirty water, which we do not want in the tank. So I will continue to let this run until it runs clear, and then we will be back inside to put this in the tank. All right, so we have the substrate all washed out. Now it's time to go ahead and wash off this piece of driftwood. We'll get that done now as well. The piece of driftwood is nice and clean at this point. And if you notice, this piece of driftwood actually has a piece of slate drilled into the bottom of it, and that is simply for weight to keep it from floating to the top of the water, because this thing is pretty much full of air, very similar to his head.
Oh guys, Christopher Scott Merch will be here in like the next day or two. I finished 2 designs.
Look at that.
You gotta check it out in a minute.
Yes. So, yeah, this is a semi-commercial break to talk about the brand, the finaticbrand.com. Now, I don't recommend that you go off and you buy things from the finaticbrand.com because I'm not an official sponsor, nor am I officially sponsored by the Finatic brand. Therefore, due to Federal Trade Commission regulations, I'm not allowed to tell you to go buy the product. However, me personally, I prefer the product over any other product because it's just great. No, I'm just kidding. Come here. Seriously. So, if you don't know, Brenton here is a YouTuber. I happen to be a YouTuber as well, but one of the other things that I do is I manage the Finatic brand. And we at the Finatic brand are making moves. So I need you to stay very, very in tune with our videos over the next few weeks because we're gonna be releasing some very, very in-depth information about a program that we are kicking off that could potentially include any one of you. So stay tuned for that. You can watch for more information to come out either on my channel or the Finatic channel, but definitely stay tuned because you're gonna be excited about this. I promise you. Agreed?
Yeah.
How's that face? If you notice also, this is honestly not a part of my video really, but this is how we do our water tests. Is Brenton comes over, grabs a cup, takes a drink, and he can determine nitrates,
nitrites,
ammonia, everything.
Really good at it.
Yeah, he is very good at it. I mean, hence the reason all the fish are alive.
Yeah, literally.
Okay. You're a fool.
Yeah, but if you guys ever had a betta fish tank, we're scaping this.
Yeah.
What do we got, Chris? Show them what we got.
Well, so what we're doing is we're going to be utilizing
4 plants. They were just supposed to slide over.
And they didn't. We're going to be using some Fritz Complete. We're going to be using some Fritz Turbo Start.
And this big fat log.
This big piece of wood. And then a top fin Betta Flow from one of the big box stores. And yeah, we're going to scape this thing out. Okay, so what we're going to be doing is we're going to be unboxing this Top Fin Betta Flow. Now granted, this video is not sponsored by Top Fin. However, it's right here in the front of the package, so I got to talk about it. Now,
oh my goodness, this is beautiful.
It is beautiful.
Oh, mother.
Look at this. So what we have is a nice little wood grain top with a light in it. We will probably figure out how to upgrade that light because of the fact that it's probably not good enough for the plant, but we will see.
I'm not gonna lie, this thing's kind of cool.
It is kind of cool. And in fact, I normally would not promote a big box store or any store for that matter, but they do have a sale at this particular store. If you want to go do the research and figure out who sells Top Fin products, you can. But this thing was like $25. I mean, and it has an internal filter. It's actually pretty nice.
For all of you guys who want to get a betta fish, this is a good move. This is a good way to go.
This is definitely a good move. Now what I did not think about is whether this was going to fit. We're going to have to cut this piece of driftwood off a little bit. What do you think?
Let's go get the saw. Okay,
So we've marked this with my saw. Now this is just a plunge cutter. I'm going to use this just simply because it's faster, easier to dig out, and this thing works. Now that we've cut it off, looks like trash. Okay.
all right.
Now, the next question is how do we put this thing in here? How does it hang on? Let's see. Oh, that just hangs anywhere. So we can actually move that all the way down here. We can actually put it on the end.
I think we should put it on the end.
I think so too. So, all right, perfect. Now we know that this thing
it goes
fits.
right there.
It fits though. You can put a handful in there or have a cup. So basically, when you are scaping a tank, the best way to do this is to hardscape first. So what we've done is we've placed the driftwood in here. We're now going to go ahead and put some substrate in here and start brushing this out over and kind of get the overall look and feel that I want in this tank. So yeah, let's see how this turns out. You should always have a trusty paintbrush around that is clean and free of debris and anything like that. And the reason is and honestly, I learned this from Serpa Design. The dude Tanner that runs the Serpa Design channel, but he always uses a paintbrush when he's scaping his hardscape substrate because it just leaves a smoother look. And if you look on my last Tetra tank, you'll see that it's very smooth, everything is in place because you can really get up in here, tuck it in, start pushing it in and getting it kind of compacted down, but it also allows you to kind of
Scrape it.
Yeah, kind of scrape this stuff out where you want it to be and get it really perfect for the overall scape. This brush will also allow you to brush out the substrate when it gets up into the cracks and crevices of the wood, as well as any stone or anything like that, so it really turns out well. Now what we also have that Brenton is displaying there is a pair of planting tweezers, if you will, or feeding tweezers. You can actually use these for multiple different things. I use them to actually plant the plants because you want to be able to get it into the substrate without overly disturbing the substrate. The kind of hilliness of this is what I like to go for, very much like my Blackwater tank as well as the Tetra tank. I'm actually going to add something here real quick if I can find a piece, so give me a moment. Alright, this piece of dragonstone is actually going to be used in this tank. I need to move some of this substrate over and kind of rescape this a little bit, but let me wash this off first. So that's kind of perfect. So what I'm going to do is use my hand to scrape some of this out to really get up underneath it. Then I want to place this dragonstone like right about here. Get some substrate back up underneath it to kind of position it like so. Fill the substrate back in. Perfect. And now what we will do is reposition the substrate back over. I like doing this kind of stuff. I think we're going to get into the business of doing some diorama style. I mean, these are kind of a beginning diorama style, but you know the painting in Aqua Studios of the mountainous range that has the big waterfall coming through, and then there's neon tetra swimming by? We need to scape a tank like that.
Yeah. Well, this looks really good.
No, I think it looks good too. Do you like the rock right here?
Yeah, I mean, I would.
I'm gonna fill it in up here some more.
Yeah, we can put an Oscar in there too.
Yeah. I was thinking actually about putting an arowana in here.
Yep.
You know?
Can't wait for all the people who can't take sarcasm in the comments.
Exactly. Yes, I was kidding. We're not going to put an arowana in here. It would not survive. Yes, we're going to put 2 or 3 hammerheads in here. Those will do well. Okay, so we have the substrate. Wow. So we have the substrate in here. Everything is looking good. Got everything kind of where we want it. I'm just kind of patting down all of the substrate to make sure it stays in place pretty well. All of this looks good. So now it's really time to get some plants in here. So we're gonna start with this Anubias. This is a small Anubias. We need to make sure that we keep this rhizome out of the substrate because it will rot basically anything underneath this long little piece of fleshy plant material that's right here. It looks like a root or the thicker root. These little tiny roots can actually go into the substrate, but this piece cannot. So we're going to start with getting that in here. We'll put that down right here between these branches. And what I do is I will grab this just like so with my tongs, and I will take it and just stick it into the substrate like this. Basically anything above this tongue cannot go under the substrate. Anything underneath it can. So I will come in here, get it all the way down into the substrate, get all of the roots into the substrate, and then pull the rhizome up and then nicely pack the substrate down around those roots. Nothing more. I do not want, like I said, I do not want it into the rhizome. I just want it into the roots. And now for the next plant. So we're going to start with a Java fern. We're going to take this Java fern and we're going to apply the same principle to this. So we're going to take it by the root system and we're going to basically place it into the substrate, which I'm going to place this one kind of over here, but up behind the dragonstone a little bit. We're going to put in another Anubias and another Java fern. Okay, so we have these. So we're going to place one of these ferns down here, and we'll place the other Anubias back up in here. All right, so looking at it from this side, I think what I'm going to do is move that other Anubias over here and move this fern up here. Once again, making sure that the rhizome is not buried under the substrate. Make sure that the substrate covers the root system well. And you don't actually have to bury these. I just prefer to. And I've never had any issue with it as long as you keep the rhizome out. Okay. Well, with that, the scape is now complete. And once I pour water in here, we're actually gonna have to come back and adjust the substrate again, but for right now, it's good. So now it's time to mix some water to put into this tank. Okay, so what I need to do is fill this 5-gallon bucket up with water and get it dechlorinated and such. So we're gonna talk about that process, but let's first fill it up with water. Okay, so now that we have the water filled up, what we're going to do is we're going to start with Fritz Complete. What Fritz Complete is a full spectrum water conditioner that will instantly remove ammonia, chlorine, chloramines, and it also will detoxify your nitrates and nitrites. This particular bottle is a 16-ounce bottle, and it will treat up to 4,800 gallons. So one capful does 50 gallons. So we're literally just a little bit of a drop there, which is 1/10 of the capful because this is only 5 gallons. So now that we have that in there, which is the first step, because you have to first start with dechlorinating the water, and the reason is because of this. Now we're going to come back, we're going to place some Fritz Turbo Start in here. This particular Turbo Start is for fresh water, as you can see right there. And this is a live nitrifying bacteria that stays in the refrigerator that will immediately start the colonization of bacteria in your tank and allows you to add livestock immediately safely. Now, you have to add something to this tank immediately, whether it be a fish or ghost feeding, because there has to be an ammonia source for this stuff to survive. You dechlorinate your water, put this into the water, and then just put the water in there with nothing else in there. This bacteria will eventually die and you will have to wait for the cycle to happen naturally. So, on this, we're going to put the recommended dosage. So for this particular dosage, it is 1 ounce of Turbo Start per 50 gallons. So we're going to add just a little bit of it into here, which will be plenty enough. And now all we need to do is get this into the actual tank. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually use a cup and I'm going to gently pour this water in here to start because I don't want to mess up the scape. So we'll start down here. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and start a time lapse of me filling this up. You guys enjoy. So before we get any fuller or any heavier, I'm actually going to move this to where it's going to go. So I'm going to go ahead and pick this up because you never want to pick up a tank that is full because it could break it. But in this situation, it's not full enough yet, so I'm going to go ahead and move it where it's going. And now we will resume the filling on the time lapse. Okay, so we went ahead and got enough water in here and I've placed the filter in here. Before we actually put the filter pad in here, I need to rinse this off with water to get the excess carbon out of it. And then we're going to place a little bit of Fritz Turbo Start on it because this is somewhere you want bacteria to colonize. Alright, we got the filter washed off. We're going to slide this into the little slots or the little grooves right into place. And then we are going to place some Fritz Turbo Start, like I said, just right over top of the filter pad. Now that that is in place and there's enough water for it to begin filtration, we're going to go and plug this thing in and let this thing fill up and start filtering. Now, I need to add some more water here real quick, so let's get that done and then we will be finished up and ready to add a fish. All right, so the tank is full now. Now we need to go ahead and get the top and the light on, so let's get that done. So basically there's a slot on this top where the filter system is actually going to fit, like so. Make sure that it fits on, and if it's not, just slide it around to where it needs to go, which it does. Let's get the light turned on. Before we proceed with anything else, we have to fix this substrate that we messed up while putting water in here. So we're going to gently brush this back down into the corner, get it nice and flat where we want it, and that is good. So the filter is running on this, and it will actually start to clear up significantly as it continues to filter through this. The light has a switch, however, I have plugged that into Google Home. I need to rename it because it controls now both this tank and the Tetra tank, but as you can see, hey Google, turn on the Tetra tank. And this is the finished tank. So yeah. Well, all right, well hopefully you guys enjoy this tank. We're gonna go pick out a Betta now to put in this thing. So let's go take a look at what we have available. What we can start with is this pretty little male here. He looks like maybe a veil tail. Very pretty red color, gray. We also have this little purpley kind of white colored, which is really pretty. We have this nice like aqua blue, which I think is what we're gonna go with. Not quite sure yet. This looks like a delta tail, but we have this nice red and white colored delta tail. And then finally, this little guy right here, who is blue and red. So, I think what we're gonna do is we're gonna go with this blue one, this aqua blue one right here. So let's get this guy in there. All right, so we have this guy acclimated. He's been cup acclimated and he is ready to go in. He is now in purely the same water that's in this tank. So all we have to do is literally just pour him in. So let's get that done now. So we are literally just gonna pour this guy in to his new home. And look at that. Beautiful little boy Betta there. Perfect. Let him chill out, get acclimated, and everything working for him. Alright guys, well hopefully you guys have enjoyed this video. We're going to take a look at everything else real quick before we get out of here, but we're in the tank room, so let's look. We have the guppy breeding tank, which is currently full of all kinds of guppies because we had to relocate some of the guppies out of the breeding pond into here for another fish. So all of these guys are doing well in here. All the baby fry are good. Everything looks good. Now moving over here, we have the black water tank, and you can see some neon tetras there. The hillstream loach is back there behind that wisteria. Barely see it. There is the paradise betta, and then of course all the pest snails all over the place. But what, you know what? Whatever. We're good there. So moving down, we have the cricket container, which, yeah, the cricket container is full of crickets. And the purpose of this is because the Oscar and the bass love crickets. I mean, love them. So, we look real quick. They will straight munch on them. Alright, let's get these guys covered back up. So what I'm keeping in here is actually a cricket quencher cube, which basically just gives them water and some nutrients and such. We have the turtle tank, which I did a full water change on this guy, replaced the filter, did some other maintenance on it. I still need to clean up the plants, but everything overall looks good in here. Here are the neon tetras. We have clown plecos back here. We have two nerite snails. And we also have Elon right there. Elon the musk turtle. Over here we have the pink belly side neck, and she is way back there. I say she, but I don't know what the sex of the turtle actually is. I mean, honestly, it probably isn't, but that's okay if it's not. But everything in here is looking really well. Down here in the Betta breeding tank, we have the big old blue Betta, and I don't see a bubble nest as of yet, but soon, hopefully. We have the little female, and they're doing fantastic. And then we're down to 4 Bettas. Now, obviously you know why we only have 4 Bettas, because the 5th one went to live in the new tank. Moving over here, we have the indoor pond, which you just saw. I'm going to unplug this aerator for a moment so you can see into the bottom. But if you notice right there, he is still a little shy. But another video is coming on that, and I'm not sure if I put anything out on my channel on this, but if you go to Brenton's channel, you can actually see, actually, you know what? Scratch that. We're gonna roll the footage right now. Here's some footage that you can see where we went and picked up this new guy and you know, acclimated him and put him into this tub. Check out this footage now, and we'll come right back to check out the rest of this. All right, guys, so Brenton decided to surprise me with a fish. So if you're over here checking out this video because Finatic sent you here, well, I appreciate it, and hopefully you hit that subscribe button before you leave. But right now what we're gonna do is we're actually gonna get this guy acclimated, and we are gonna get him into the indoor pond. We've actually been considering picking up another giant Oscar for this indoor pond because we lost one to hole in the head a month or two ago, and the other Oscar is yeah, you know, sad and lonely. So hopefully they get along and everything works out. But we're gonna go ahead and get this guy acclimated, and we're gonna get him into the indoor pond. So stay tuned for that. All right, well, we have this guy up acclimated. Everything is good. We've been cup acclimating him, so we're gonna get him into this net, and we are going to move him into the indoor pond right now. What do you think about that, dude?
Good.
Yeah? You excited about that?
I didn't know they got a new Oscar.
I know you didn't, did you? The surprise, huh?
Yeah, it's like...
Hey, you like it?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So what should everybody do before they leave this video?
Subscribe to our channel, follow us on Instagram, and we'll see you next time.
Not quite, dude. We're not ready to go yet, but hey, I appreciate it. But no, just like little Max said, make sure you subscribe and make sure you follow us on Instagram, as well as make sure you like this video before you go. Also, this dude is super cool. Look at him. You can see him down there. What do you think we should name this guy? Comment below and let me know what we should name this guy. But let's get this guy in there before he has to sit here any longer. Okay, you ready?
Yeah.
Hold him very gently. Hold on.
Sit him in.
Sit him in there. Just let him sit for a second. Okay, ready? You got him?
Yeah.
Okay, let him in, Max. Look at that. All right.
You have an Oscar friend, dude.
You do have an Oscar friend. So hopefully this guy gets acclimated and enjoys his time inside of this pond, because this Oscar is super cool and lets you pet him.
Yeah,
and he likes to be scratched.
And he likes to bite you when you put your fingers in
He
the
will
bowl.
bite you, yep.
Yeah, look. He bites. He already bit me.
The little bass is starting to let you hand pet him. The other Oscar's up under there right now. He's going to chill out, and he's going to take him some time to acclimate to his new environment. But he will soon be hand feeding crickets. Okay, so hopefully you guys enjoyed that footage. But yeah, that is a new tiger Oscar that we picked up for Max. Because Max always is afraid that this guy right here is lonely since his buddy died a few months ago. So we've now picked up a new Oscar, and he'll eventually acclimate just like this little baby wild bass that came out of the lake has, and we'll start hand feeding and everything else. But everything in here is looking good. The knife fish is up under here. He was eating last night. This thing was full last night of small feeder goldfish and feeder rosy minnows, because unfortunately that knife fish will only eat live food. I cannot get him to eat pellets or anything else. So he lives on a diet of minnows, goldfish, as well as earthworms. So he is up under there. Oh, and there's the big pleco right there. He's doing well. There's the tail of the knife fish right there, flopping in the current. The featherfin catfish is up under there that you just saw. There's this little goldfish that survived. No point in getting him out. He can just live in there. Nothing's gonna eat him now. So everything, there's the knife fish again. Everything in here is doing really, really well. The saltwater tank's looking great. We have the Banggai cardinal, the clownfish. Right up under here you have the fire shrimp and the big algae eating snail. There are no signs of the brittle star, which he is always back up under this rock back here, except at night. There's the little Sally crab right there, but there's also no signs of the meat-eating snail. The meat-eating snail only comes out when there's actually food in the tank. So you're not gonna see either one of those normally, but they're in here. Everything is looking good. All right, guys, well, hopefully you have enjoyed that video today. If you have any video ideas or suggestions, you are more than welcome to comment those below, or you can send me a DM on Instagram, a Facebook message. You can also find my other contact information in the description of every single video. There's a phone number that you can text, you can leave a voicemail on. Sometimes I answer, sometimes Brenton answers. You're more than welcome to call. Any way, shape, or form, you can send smoke signals. I don't know how to read them. Don't know how to understand them, but you can send them. But anyway, we really appreciate all the support. We appreciate the views. If you have not liked this video yet, definitely click the like button real quick before you go. If you haven't followed us on Instagram or you haven't subscribed to this channel, please do that now. And hey, listen, we will see you next time.